When people talk about Watch Dogs 1, most discussions circle back to Chicago, the blackout, or Aiden Pearce's revenge story. But one thing that's rarely talked about is something far more personal. Aiden's family ties, specifically his sister Nicole, and how her trauma and fear shaped the story in ways many players overlook. Because in truth, Nicole isn't just a background character, she's the human cost of Aiden's obsession, and her story is what quietly exposes the entire moral failure at the heart of Watch Dogs. When we first meet Nicole Pearce, she's living a quiet, suburban life with her 2 kids, trying to stay out of Aiden's world. But after the death of Lena, her daughter, she's thrown into a nightmare that never ends. Aiden's revenge crusade, meant to bring justice for Lena, only makes things worse for her. The constant surveillance, the violence, the media attention, all of it creeps closer and closer to her doorstep. In the game, we see Aiden constantly checking in on her, hacking into her home security system, even without her knowledge, all in the name of protection. But that's the key irony. Aiden's version of protection is control, and Nicole becomes the person who suffers most because of it. Nicole's kidnapping by Damian Branks isn't just a plot device, it's a mirror held up to Aiden's methods. Damian exploits the exact tools Aiden uses: hacking, manipulation, and fear. What makes this moment so powerful is that it forces Aiden to confront the consequences of his actions. Everything he's done, every person he's hurt, comes back to destroy the very thing he claimed to be fighting for. Nicole's terrified reaction to Aiden when she's rescued isn't relief. It's realization. She sees that her brother is no longer a guardian, but a stranger obsessed with vengeance. Her words, "I can't do this anymore," hit harder than any bullet in the game because they expose the truth. Aiden has become the same kind of monster he's been chasing. And here's where the brilliance of Watch Dogs 1 hides in plain sight. The story never tries to redeem Aiden in Nicole's eyes. There's no tearful reunion, no comforting resolution. She leaves with her kids and Aiden is left behind, alone in a city of data and noise. It's one of the rare times a video game dares to show that family can't always be fixed, especially when obsession takes over. Nicole represents the world that Aiden claims he's protecting, the normal, human world, and by the end, he's completely alienated from it. There's also an interesting layer in how Nicole parallels the ordinary citizens of Chicago. Just like them, she's trapped between the systems of power, ctOS, hackers, and corporate surveillance, all fighting for control. She doesn't want any part of it, yet she becomes a victim of it anyway. In a sense, Nicole's story is the real Watch Dogs story. The story of someone caught in a web of technology, grief, and control that she never asked to be a part of. In the game, there is a side mission chain called Missing Persons, in which the main character, Aiden Pearce, investigates a series of missing women in Chicago. These victims have a particular trait in common. They are hemophiliacs. The case leads Aiden to a suspect named Edgar Noon, whose motive is tied to his own disease and a warped sense of vengeance. What makes these missions notable is that they are not just bonus tasks. They reflect deeply troubling themes about profiling, surveillance, and the consequences of a system that treats people as data points. First, the fact that these victims are hemophiliacs links disease status, a vulnerability, to their marked profiles in the city's system. Aiden uses the game's profiler tool via ctOS to trace them, hack their phones, monitor crime predictions. The gameplay loop here mirrors real-world concerns about predictive policing and health surveillance. Individuals flagged by systems because of shared traits. The game positions the player in control of this tech, but you're still relying on a system that reduces human beings to risk assessments. Second, the suspect Edgar Noon himself is flagged by ctOS as possible future criminal. His disease and marginal status render him both victim and perpetrator in the narrative. When Aiden confronts him, he lapses into the language of monster inside me, which evokes the way that systems, both game systems and societal systems, label people by their bad data. So the mission chain forces the player to ask, Are we rescuing victims, or are we perpetuating the same logic of surveillance that created the victim in the first place? Third, these missions sit structurally outside the main narrative of Aiden's revenge for his niece. So at first glance, they appear optional or peripheral, yet they carry thematic weight. The same tools Aiden uses to protect or to harm his own are used here on ordinary citizens. In effect, the missing persons chain extends the story universe from Aiden's personal vendetta into the everyday lives of people caught in the data grid. It's like the collateral damage of surveillance meets vigilantism, and we do it as part of the game's open world. Finally, by resolving the chain and taking down Noon, the player experiences both empowerment and discomfort. You exploit the system to stop a killer, yet you've also leaned into profiling, hacking phones, invading privacy. The game never fully addresses the ethical cost of that. This is an area most analyses skip because it's hidden in side missions, but it's central to the themes of the game: power, technology, and moral ambiguity. So next time you hack into a profiler feed in Watch Dogs, remember, you're not just playing a mechanic, you're engaging the same logic the narrative quietly critiques.